Hi guys, how are you, my bookworm friends? I am here with another very interesting uh, book suggestion video. I guess it's not a recommendation. I wouldn't say it's a recommendation video because these are all the books that I have read in the last 3 months, and it's it's not actually all the books that I have read in the last 3 months. It's only the best books I have read in the last 3 months, and I have different types of suggestion for you. I will talk about all the books. These are the books today I'm going to talk about. You can see, and they're like literally very different from one another, and they're very unique, and I am really happy that I have chose to read them. And I think you will also love these books. And I think as the month is ending, I'm literally panicking because I have planned to read so many books in 2022, and of course I couldn't finish my TBR. We are almost halfway through December. I'm still hoping to attempt reading like 3 or 4 books within the last 15 days, remaining 15 days of 2022, which is crazy. And because I think when it comes to overestimating my ability to read books, I think I go limitless, and I'm usually not hard on myself if I cannot finish my TBR, because it's all about the experience. It's all about your own pace, and it doesn't matter if you read like 100 books or 10 books in a year. You have to really enjoy it, you have to love it, and the experience of reading the book, actually comprehending the emotion, understanding it, and actually enjoying the whole reading thing is more important than the number. So I definitely don't get too involved and competitive with that. But of course I have like a long list of books I really want to read before it's 2023. This month we are going to have so much fun because I am going to make like many different types of entertaining video. I will try to make like many different entertaining videos. I don't know, with these chaotic things happening in my neighborhood, as I told you earlier, all the people out there, my neighbors, are rebuilding, constructing everything, and I think it's just getting too difficult to shoot, because that's why I'm shooting only during the night time. So yes, if the lighting is weird, I'm really sorry, but let's jump into the video and let's talk about the book. But before that, my intro is coming. So the first book I am going to talk about is definitely a classic, and this classic actually took like literally a month of my reading time, because when I read classic, I just really need some time to get into that zone, and my reading speed also becomes slower than usual, because with classics I have a difficulty to follow all the descriptions, and sometimes I have to reread some of the chapters to keep a track. I'm really glad that I finished the book, because I have heard so much about the book and I love the author, and I was hoping to love it, and I did. But I have some problems with it, but let me show you first the book. It's Tess of D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. So this book is very famous, one of the most famous book of Thomas Hardy, because Tess is a kind of a character who is almost an amalgamation of all the Victorian heroines we see in novels of the times. But here, which actually is very good about this book, is it's very though it's about Tess, it's not character driven at all. It's mostly plot driven, because things happen to Tess and she just reacts. So The core of the story, let me just give you a brief synopsis of the plot. It's just about this girl who is underage and she's just in her adolescence, and she's very beautiful. Though she is in her adolescence, she looks older than her age, and that creates difficulties in her life because men fetishize her. Men are looking at her like a sexual object, and she is sexualized before even she understands what is sexuality. And that is so sad, that the core of the story is so sad, that she had zero sex education. And at that time, it's so relatable in England. Actually, in general, women didn't have that access, or that talk from the family, or nobody actually explained things to them because they tried to protect them. That kind of Victorian idea of virginity and morality and everything, that is so wrong for a woman. And she goes to a farm to work for her family, and she meets Alec, a man of a questionable character, and he is the first man who looks at her in the book in a very suggestive and sexual way, and she understands that she is uncomfortable, but she doesn't know how to protect herself and how to protest against this. And as I told you, it's very sad because I think for the most of the book is about how Tess react to things happening to her, and how much miserable her life has become because of victim shaming. And I think we still see this in our life, and that's why I think this book is really important, and where the man is actually responsible for what happened to the victim. It's always about the victim. We make it about the victim. We try to gaze what was her fault, what did she do wrong. And here Tess's mistake was she was uneducated about this stuff. Like, if I read this from the back, it has a quote of Tess, and it's a very famous quote where she says, "How could I be expected to know? I was a child when I left this house 4 months ago. Why didn't you tell me there was danger in menfolk? Why didn't you warn me?" So she said this to her mother, and she was vexing because she expected her mother to talk about it before she goes to a place where there is no one to be her guardian. And I really loved the complexity of Angel Clare. I think he's one of the most complex character and gray character I have read in recent times, because he is apparently the nicest, the sweetest, the perfect guy you could ever have. But I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but you will see when this type of men at that period who claim to be very progressive and who thought that they're very different, they're free from all the conventional Victorian morality, and they don't care about it, and they detest the conservatism of the church. But when they face the reality and when they know the history of women, they just are like anyone else, and they just can't handle it. And that also happened for Angel Clare. We definitely see his arc, and that is what I love about Hardy. When the arc happens, or whenever he introduces a plot twist, mostly he's very good at introducing coincidence, because the way coincidence happens in Hardy's book is very organical, and that's the best thing about Hardy. And other thing I love about Hardy is his descriptions are very cinematic. And by cinematic, I mean his descriptions, the way he talks about the setting changing with the characters' mood or tone, or the props, or the things that are visible in the scene. In our filmmaking language, we call that mise-en-scène, and I think he uses that brilliantly. He through symbols and through other inanimated objects, he actually captures the emotion of the scene. And you should definitely give Hardy a try if you're interested in classic literature. I'm still a big fan of Far from the Madding Crowd because there the character Bathsheba, always acts on her behalf. She is responsible for her own actions, and whatever she says, she knows it. And here we see a very innocent girl, a maiden. I almost forgot to mention the way Hardy created this allusion with the famous Bible story, the story of Adam, Eve, and Satan. So basically, Tess is treated as the Eve, and Satan is Alec, and Angel is definitely Eve, who at first blames Eve, like Angel blames Tess for whatever happened to her, and then we see the original villain of the story is Alec, who is the Satan. And in the ending, it's very, very like satisfying ending. I have been hoping this to happen. Like I was so satisfied. I felt like that it's just how it should be. And here Hardy changes the core of the story, and to know that what he has done, you have to read Tess of D'Urbervilles. And I really love the way he starts his novel. He always use what we call red herring. That means he introduces a character who is not always the main character or the protagonist of the plot. Sometimes he's a very forgettable character, but he introduces us to the setting of the novel through him or her, and then we get to see the original protagonist of the plot. And that happened for the other novel, Far from the Madding Crowd, which is still now my favorite novel of all time, and which is the novel which inspired me to study Victorian novels. And I will definitely talk about Far from the Madding Crowd in another video. And this chunky book has 400 pages in this penguin's like small, like literally small penguin's tiny fonts. And I'm really proud of myself, though it's not the longest book I have finished. Still now is Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, I think, or Great Expectation, I'm not sure. But yes, I think the longest book I have read was of 600 pages. I haven't crossed the 600 threshold yet. But yes, this is definitely a book that you should read, and it's very important, as I told you, historically. And this edition by Penguin is my favorite edition when it comes to reading novels from any classical period, because the introduction tells you a lot about the situation in which the author was writing the novel, the social background of the novel, the political scenarios you should know about when you are reading this novel. But also, I would suggest you never read the introduction section before finishing the actual novel. Sometimes it just has many spoilers, which we don't want. So I always finish the novel and then come back to read other articles and non-fiction things about the text. So that's how I do it, and I would suggest you to do the same. And Hardy is very intriguing figure, and I think he handles women's character very delicately, and I really love the way he goes into women's psyche. And I vividly remember when I was reading Far from the Madding Crowd, I was so excited. At times I would go and grab a pencil and just underline the lines, because he was writing like my thoughts, the way I feel something. I could see that on the paper. It was really amazing and mind-boggling, and that's why I like bought like 3 or 4 books by him at that time, but I couldn't read those books. And this is the second book I have read, and I have read his poetry, and I have other novels by him, and I just really wish to finish at least two of his novels every year. That's my goal now. Okay, now coming to the next book. This is The Little Prince. This is a book that I think should be read by every adult, every child on this planet, in this universe, everywhere. Because firstly, excuse me for not being able to pronounce the name of the author, because uh, the last bit is really scaring me, and I know I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, so I'm not going to try. But The Little Prince is written in a way that it's a children's classic book. It has really simple language, and also for the fact, and the reason behind it is intentional, but also the author who wrote this is actually French, and it's written in a simple language, and that's why I think it's a really good book for beginners. But I think the way it talks to you, it's about a little prince. We don't know from where he has come. He has come from a different planet, and he will meet our narrator. Our narrator is a pilot who is repairing his aeroplane in, or a helicopter, I don't remember, in a deserted island. And he meets this prince, and he talks to him, and this prince talks about different kind of people he has met, different kind of planet he has seen. And it's so beautiful, so pure, and it talks about important things that we should value in our life. And it's a book you should carry if you are left alone in a deserted island and you could carry only one book. You should definitely carry this book, because this is going to stay with you forever, and you will feel like reading it over and over again whenever you are in a bad phase in your life, because it's not a self-help book, but it's literature, and it heals you. And the way we chase our success, we are very busy, and we become very materialistic, we become very egoistic, narcissistic, and everything that is very negative around us, this book alone will fight with all of them and bring peace in your life. And trust me, uh, if you are in a bad phase in your life and you just need a book which will feel like a warm hug, this is the book, The Little Prince. And this edition is so beautiful. This is by Puffin, and this is an illustrated version. I think this is actually illustrated by the author himself, and it's a very famous book. And I mean, I think it's one of those famous books which have been translated in several languages, different kind of languages. And yes, this is, and this edition has like very big font. I don't know if you can see it. And this is also available in paperbacks, easily available in our country, anywhere. I would definitely reread this book again and again, and I think once you have finished it, you will do the same.